Mrs. Sawyerr, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Professor Sawyerr chaired the Star Ghana Steering Committee for 7 years, right from its inception in 2010. And this tribute celebration of Prof. Sawyerr really focuses on how he worked with us, he worked with the donors, he challenged everybody, and transformed Star Ghana from a fund management mechanism set up by donors into a tool for promoting national development. So in celebrating AKI at 80, we at the Star Ghana Foundation are celebrating more than the man and his impact on his society. We are also celebrating the journey of civil society in Ghana since the early 1980s, when Prof. Sawyerr provided leadership for the SAPRI initiative through GRAP, through Star Ghana Phase 1, through Star Ghana Phase 2, and ending up with the Star Ghana Foundation. And indeed, we cannot tell the story of the evolution of the Star Ghana program into the Star Ghana Foundation without acknowledging the critical role Prof. Sawyerr has played. He challenged all of us from the get-go to look beyond the primary function of the program and to begin to see it as a mechanism, as a tool, as a resource to be able to contribute to transformational national development. His engagement with Star Ghana covers almost 3 of the 4 areas in the theme around public service, thought leadership, and activism. But I'll focus on 2 examples of his impact, his support to the Star Ghana program. The first was in transforming a fund management mechanism into a tool for social transformation. Star Ghana was set up as the Star Ghana program was set up as a mechanism to manage donor funds on behalf of DFID, EU, etc. So for those of you familiar with how these programs are designed, it was heavy on a log frame, it was heavy on a theory of change that looked at a very linear process, you know, you put in this, you get this, and etc. And so my first day with Prof. Sawyerr, I came with a very finely, well-written, in my opinion, paper on how we could achieve the log frame outputs, outcomes, and etc. He took a look at it and said, well, me, I'm not a log frame person. And if you are bringing me here to come and manage a log frame program, then you better have your thing. I am really interested in seeing how we can use this as a tool for national development, building on the work that had already been done under GRAP. So I said, well, sir, but then how do we report to the donors if we put aside the log frame? He said, well, that's your bloody business. Mine in the steering committee is to see to it that we don't focus on log frames and lose the bigger picture. So I went away scratching my head and wondering, how do I serve these 2 masters? Donors who want us to report against the log frame, and a steering committee led by its chair who didn't want to hear about the log frames. And I think the way we've worked together, Prof, is testimony of how he was able to guide and support us in the program management team in managing this tension. So by the time the program, the first phase of the program had ended, the Star Ghana program had already embarked on the journey of looking beyond the narrow limits of managing the funds and reporting to really a mechanism that was working actively with civil society to look at what were the problems, what were the issues, and how could we use the Star Ghana program to support the achievement of the results that we wanted. And indeed, we started talking about Star as a grant plus program. But I think the biggest area of change in the first phase of the program was in the area of gender and social inclusion. He took a look at the strategy and said, this does not speak to what our realities are. So we went back to the drawing board. We started the process, And I think that it's testimony to what we achieved. That when I came in this afternoon, Dr. Rose Mensah Kutin, well known in gender and inclusion circles, said, Tanko, whatever you say today, please mention AKI's role in the institutionalization of strategies for achieving gender and social inclusion in the program. So, Prof, thank you very much for that. The second aspect of the engagement with STAR that I want to talk about is the evolution of the program into the STAR Ghana Foundation. Again, it started with Prof challenging us. So he said, so after the STAR Ghana program, or the next iteration of the program, what next? We have seen donor programs come and off and go, sometimes at a time when they are beginning to achieve traction. Then the donors come with another program, and we start the process all over again. We cannot achieve any meaningful progress with 5-year projects. Let us challenge ourselves to come up with something and invite whoever is interested to get involved. So when we were designing developing the second phase of the program, we said, well, would the donors agree to support something that they don't control? And I said, well, if they don't want to do it, they should get away. We'll look for our own resources elsewhere. He challenged everybody, and indeed, it is testimony to the impacts that he had, that the donors actually took or were at the forefront of, the process towards transforming STAR Ghana into a foundation. And when we launched the foundation in November 2018, I think it was heartwarming that Prof was there to see his dream, materialize. And we've been joking among ourselves that perhaps instead of calling it the STAR Ghana Foundation, we should call it the AKI Foundation for Civil Society Strengthening. And maybe we might use it as an alias, STAR Ghana Foundation, also known as AKI Foundation for Civil Society Strengthening. At a personal level, I have worked with AKI for 7 years. He has challenged me, he has bullied me, he has mentored me, but I think at the end of the day, I am the better for it. He would ask you when you invite him to a program, he says, please write out something for me. Initially, when I didn't know him very well, I'll go and write out all the flowery language I could. He takes a look at it and puts it down, speaks extempore, and you realize that what he has said extempore is 100 times better than the flowery language that. So I learned my lessons, and he says, "Oh, Amidu, bring something." I just do bullet points. It is about anti-corruption. We have 15 listings, and then he knows how to put it. And every time, that he's chaired, he's spoken on behalf of the program, people leave, with a realization that we didn't know about these other dimensions. And when we were preparing for this event, somebody called me and asked for Prof's speeches, as steering committee chair. And I said, actually, we don't even have one single written speech in our records. Everything that he has said has been extempore and has been well delivered. Thank you, Prof. I think the second area has been his ability to just listen, whether it is at the program steering committee meeting with donors, meeting with civil society, sit back, listen. He's not taking notes. And yet when he gets up at the end to summarize, you wonder, you say, where was this man storing all these things that he's been able to summarize and then get you to focus on the key issues? And I think we've all learned a lot from Prof. And for me, the abiding words that always keep ringing in my mind, after he's finished, he asks you, so, Mr. Tanko, am I wrong or what? And I said, Prof, you're not wrong. Okay, then let's move on. And he said, when he's in a very good mood, he says, am I right or I'm right? And of course, I can't tell my boss that you are not right. So I said, Prof, you're right. But Prof has touched all of us, from the steering committee, through to the program management committee team, through to the partners we worked with. Prof has guided, he has led us, he has challenged us, and he has led us to a very good place. Thank you very much, Prof.